how do you close a gap against your competitor? Study your competitor. Study that higher up because they're doing something that you're not doing. The moment you think you know it all, you're screwed. You will never beat them. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another fire episode of the Winners Club podcast, where even when we don't win, we learn. And learning is a form of winning. Guys, my name is Brian Tran. I'm your host. I got my co-host here, PJ Padua.
What's up, guys?
Let's get into it.
Let's get straight into it. Guys, today's episode is going to be fire. I know everybody can relate that we all have peers and superiors, people that we, in a sense, are competitive with, right? People that are above us. And the topic today I really want to talk about is how do you close the gap, right? And how do you work harder than somebody above you and really get to almost be even with them and eventually surpass them, right? Like how does one soar further and faster than another
check
above
this out.
you?
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready for this.
I'm going to take a little sidetrack real quick because
go.
you did mention the word superior, your boss, okay?
Yeah.
There is a law in the 48 laws of power that you never outshine your master.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to be very careful with the advice that I'm going to give you. If you have a boss, you do not want to outshine him or her, all right? Because they have the power to destroy you if they want to.
Yeah.
So careful with that. So let's rephrase that in the sense of how do you close a gap against your competitor?
Okay.
All right, let's change that up a little bit because I don't want people to get mad and be like, yo, man, I took your advice and I got fired. That's the disclaimer. You don't outshine your master.
For sure. Let's say competitors. How do you close the gap of your competitors?
Okay. So the first thing that I would say is that in order to close the gap, let's say, for example, I'm a real estate agent.
Yeah.
And my competitor is at a different company and they're doing $200 million in sales. I'm only at 100.
For sure.
Okay, so I got $100 million gap that I have to cover. Okay, the first thing you need to do is actually study your competitor.
Yeah.
Study that higher up because they're doing something that you're not doing.
For sure.
They're either outworking you, outspending you on marketing, or they're innovating and getting something done that is something you need to add to your arsenal.
Yeah.
That's step one. All right. I study all my competitors. I study their pricing. I study their marketing. I study how much they're spending on ads, right? To the best of my abilities. Like, we try to dig up that information.
Yeah.
Because I want to know, like, okay, well, if we can match that, where do we stand?
Yeah.
Are we on the same trajectory, right? I'm learning from them, ultimately.
For sure.
Okay?
This is good advice.
You have to learn from them.
Really good advice.
So even though they're your competitor, they're not your enemy. Like they're doing something.
Yeah.
So learn.
Yeah.
That's the first key. In order to close the gap, you just have to listen and study more and be a sponge.
Yeah.
Right? The moment you think you know it all, you're screwed. You will never beat them.
Yeah.
Okay? That's the simple truth of the matter. The second thing that oftentimes I see, especially in sales, it comes down to the amount of hours that they're working.
Yeah.
And then to go even deeper, it's the amount of hours that they're spending on that deep work.
Yeah.
The work that will change and make big incremental leaps, right? People get it all twisted that if they come to the office, that's considered work. No. What are you doing at the office when you're here is what's more important.
Yeah.
Okay? So you should be focusing more on prospecting or whatever it is, or looking up marketing and all that stuff and actually like marketing your business.
Yeah.
Maybe that's more important than just coming around here, drinking coffee, taking a bathroom break, eating lunch, and talking with the coworkers and stuff like that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
So study them, then you got to understand the work.
Yeah.
I would say if you do those two things, you can help close the gap.
Yeah.
Right there. The third thing is, how much time are you actually spending on your business on things that is innovative?
Yeah.
Okay? For example, I tell everybody in the office, like, you should be on social media. That's something that you may not get immediate return.
Yeah.
But if you do it and you're marketing your business, in a year, 2 years, you're really going to be ahead of the curve. You're going to be more known.
For sure.
And it is like planting seeds.
For sure.
And so that's just one method.
Yeah.
You know, you can do like more email newsletters. You can do Whatever it is, it's just you pick the marketing, you run with it.
For sure.
Because if you can outmarket your competition, that's how you can really close the gap.
Yo, 100%, man. Like, I just want to, before you keep going, because you jammed a lot of information to everybody, and I absolutely, what?
You're shaking your leg. It's making noise.
You hear it?
Yeah.
I don't hear it. Anyways, Mr. Bryan, out of everything you said, I agree 100%. Like, you need to understand what your competitors are doing. So do what your competitors are doing and do what your competitors are also not doing yet.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You need to figure out that extra sauce, that extra, like, exactly, like marketing track or trick, or like, I don't know, open house trick, or whatever it may be, that's going to be like more to your business than the other person, and put those in combination. And that's the quickest way to close the gap of your competitors.
Yeah. And also you can always hire mentors, hire coaches, hire consultants.
That's even a great way too.
Are doing, okay, for example, that person's doing 200 million.
Yeah.
Go find a coach that's taught somebody how to get to 300.
For sure.
And then now you can really
For
close
sure.
and then put in systems and implementations that will allow you to surpass
Yeah.
your competitors.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like, I mean, a story, because even since you brought up the social media, like, I thought that was a interesting story, because I said this exact same thing to one of the realtors, or, around 50 Hills. Eddie over here, Eddie, our young buck, young gun out here, young bull.
Yep.
He's been working really, really hard, learning about real estate, learning about his craft, and, putting in the hours. And one day I saw him shooting content.
Yeah.
Like, I was ton of content. And I walked in the room and I was like, hey, bro, I just want to let you know what you're doing is the right thing. Because right now what you're doing is you're closing the gap.
Yep.
Between everybody who doesn't want to shoot content, like in your space, you're the one who said, I'm going to do it. On top of everything of making your cold calls, going on your open houses, putting up signs for other realtors, like you are closing the gap. You're doing the hard work.
I mean, yeah, he's a perfect example.
Yeah.
But the problem is, I don't know who he's trying to close the gap with, but also there comes an understanding too, guys, that you also have to understand that sometimes you're not going to be able to close the gap in the time frame that you're looking to close it in.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is, like, you have to be realistic with the like, is it going to take you a year to close the gap, or is it going to take you 5 years to close the gap?
For sure.
Okay?
For sure.
Because, like, for example, we got a couple of hitters in here. Like, we got Brandon, we got Alex, we got Randy, who's been in the business. Brandon's been in the business for like 10 years. Alex has been in the business for like right around 9.
Yeah.
Randy's closer to 5 or 6. And you got a new agent that comes in and is like, yo, I wanna close the gap in 1 year. And I'm like, it's gonna be pretty hard.
Yeah.
Okay, just truthfully speaking, because even if you have the connection, meaning like you have like a rich family that can buy properties, it takes you at least like 5-6 months just to learn the lingo, learn how to write the contract, learn how to like navigate the transaction.
Yeah.
Right. So, but do I think you can do it in like 2-3 years? I think you can, because what happens is sometimes the top producers they take their foot off the gas.
Yeah.
And as long as you got it on full throttle, you catch up pretty quickly.
Yeah. See, that's why studying your competitors is such a valuable tool.
Right.
You can kind of see.
Like, we have competitors, like, in everything, in every single company, right? Like, and so, like, I'm going back to the brokerage side. Like, yeah, I'm gunning for a couple of competitors. I'm trying to close the gap with a couple of my peers, but I'm like, but I'm not gonna do it in year 1. Like, but like, I set the goal to do it, like, to embark on this competition.
Yeah.
Like right now, but I know it's gonna be like a 2-year thing.
Yeah.
Because I gotta build out the systems in the next 6 months, put the right people in place so that we can then start going. Right now we're doing like 65 miles.
Yeah.
Then we can go 100 miles without worrying about the wheels flying off and crashing the car.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
For sure.
I know I throw a lot of analogy at people, but that's really what it is.
For sure.
I'm making sure my car can handle the speed before I hit that speed.
Yeah.
And that's just from experience, but also because I'm not trying to throw all my eggs in the basket.
Yeah.
The other way that you can get there really quickly, and this is not more for like the beginner listeners, but more for people who have an established business, is I can throw a lot of money at something.
Yeah.
You have sweat equity and you have check equity. A fast way to expand and grow and hit those big numbers.
Yeah.
You just dump a lot of money into I can spend $15,000-$20,000 a month on leads right now.
Yeah.
Right. I can open up 2-3 more offices, and from San Jose to SF,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But all that does is it's just like you're only doing that to like feed your ego. Because realistically, if I do all that, I probably won't make a whole lot of money. You know, I'll be able to flex and say I got 3 offices.
Yeah.
Oh, we did a 200, 300 million in sales.
Yeah.
But my tax return is going to show, or my profit and loss statement is going to show that I made jack diddly squat, and that's just not worth it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially with the way that things are kind of going in this marketplace, you don't know where the market's going to go, so you can dump that money in and still be screwed.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable with the pace that we're growing at because it's just, for me, it's a calculated risk.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's something to think about too.
No, I get that.
I know it's completely different. I think some people are listening to this like, I just want to beat my competitor, but you also have to understand like the risk versus reward.
No, for sure, and I get
You
that.
know?
I mean, like, I kind of understand what you're saying.
You get it?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like in terms of speaking of like brokerages, right? Like you could go freaking.
I could be the number 1 flipper in the Bay Area. I just got to take out a bunch of loans on hard money and take out
Yeah.
like every single project. But
Just get a little
is
risky.
that the smart?
Yeah.
Like okay, now I'm putting all like my. You're basically gambling at this point because if anything, like at that scale, if you don't have the right systems and processes and the right quality control, foremen's, contracting crew, you're just gonna get screwed.
Yeah, well, there's a better question to ask then too. It's like how do I become the number 1 flipper with like very little risk as possible? Right? Like that's a better question.
Wholesale, you got to be a wholesaler, you know. And so,
But it's a better question instead of like being like,
so my thing
I'm
is
gonna
like,
go
I don't need to be the number 1 flipper.
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to gun for the guy who's doing 27 flips a year.
Yeah. All right, but
Like,
Mr. Brian, we're trying to pump up the people, and people are trying to smoke their competitors.
Anyways,
you know?
the thing is, I'm gonna pump you up, but but this is a real business podcast from real life experience.
Yeah.
It's easy for somebody to just come up here and be like, do this, and you're gonna freaking beat your competitor.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you already know. Okay, we already outlined the 3 things that you need to do, but I'm also gonna outline why sometimes it's not the smartest to do it in 6 months to beat your competitor.
Yeah. I get what you're
Like
saying.
you're putting everything on the line and going. You're risking so much.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
You know?
No, I get that. I think that was a very, very important thing to say about like the time, right?
Yeah,
and
time.
understanding that like it's not the best to try to do it as quick as possible, but you know, you got to understand some people do have the urgency, and I think it is good to have urgency. To be like, hey Brian, how long did it take you to be successful as a realtor?
5 years.
You're like 5 years? All right, okay.
Do it in 2.
Let me ask you how you did it, and like maybe let's see how could I do it in 3.
Yeah.
Right? Add a little bit more than everything you told me, and let me try to get there. And
I don't have any doubt about it. Like I do, when people ask me like, can they be successful faster? Absolutely, because I was in a environment where it wasn't as like friendly and helpful. I think it's better now.
There's more technology too.
More technology now. Like you can get more done. I think it is easier to be a realtor now than it was back then.
I think so.
So yes, you can probably do it in 2-3 years.
Yeah.
You got to put in the work.
Yeah. Well, can you imagine if somebody did everything that you did on top of that, made like 2 reels every single day?
Oh yeah, bro.
For those 5 years in a row.
There was a speaker at the last real estate conference we went to. She got 70% of her business was from TikTok.
That's clean. That's
70%. I think she did like $30 million in sales. So she brought home $750,000 in gross commission earned. Probably after splits and everything like that and expenses, she probably cleared $500,000.
That's tight.
Okay, and 70% of that business came from TikTok.
That's cool.
So 70% of half. Actually, we have to do 70% of 700 something. Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot, man. It's like 400,000.
It's a lot of money. Okay,
Yeah,
it's a lot of money. But that's like a perfect example, right? Just with that.
You can reach more.
Yeah.
I think now, like, without going too deep into it, like, it's people are more comfortable working with younger people.
Yeah.
Right? Like, when I was in this industry, like, I was 21, 22, all the realtors were old. So I think that's what people were accustomed to. They say young kid, they're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You know? But whatever. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
People shorten the gap, close it up, try to do more.
Well, the thing is, too, it's right, like, I don't know. Like, wouldn't you, if somebody was like, hey, how long did it take? You're like 5 years. It's just like, be okay with that? Like, completely? Like, I feel like you should be like, all right, how can I kind of try?
I'm always like, how can I?
Are you
cut
like
it?
that?
Well,
Yeah.
even then, because when I was talking to people, they're like, my 5th year I blew up, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna try to do it faster.
Yeah.
And like, I made some money in year 3. I made, I made a little bit more in year 4, but
Yeah.
year 5 was when it was like, okay, I got the hang of things.
Yeah.
Like, all right,
All right, but how long do you think it would have like been if you didn't really try to like make it faster, right? And you were like, all right, 5 years, like let me put in work that's gonna get it for 5 years. Do you think it would have took 7?
I don't know, man, because I would have did the same amount of work. I was doing I worked 7 days a week.
Yeah.
I worked 7 days a week until my son was like 2.
Yeah.
Right, he's 5 now, so the last 3 years I definitely put my foot off the gas with working.
Yeah.
But, dude, yeah, it just wasn't a matter of, for me, it didn't matter. I knew it was gonna happen. I didn't want to put a time frame like I'm gonna be successful.
I like that.
And even
too.
when I made money, it was like, okay, it's not real until I could do it next year again.
Yeah.
Oh, and then it was it's not real until I could do 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Because it's like, how many people do you hear today make $1 million and the next year they make jack shit? I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
These freaking e-commerce stars and all these guys, and I'm like, yo, they like to talk about what they made in that 1 year when COVID was freaking booming and everybody's fucking making hella money.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden now they don't make no money.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I'm gonna go on a little tangent.
Go ahead,
All right?
sir.
I'm gonna go on a little tangent
We're
because
chilling.
speaking of that, like, dude, there are people who try to claim they make hella money, and then they chase like, and again, like, I bring this up and I will tie it back in.
Okay.
Sometimes your competitor ain't doing as well as you think they're doing.
Oh yeah, bro.
Okay, because the thing is, like,
facts.
and the fact is, maybe they didn't take my advice and they try to get to 300 million in sales or 400 million or make these big numbers.
Yeah.
Because they put it all in.
Yeah.
Right, and they're like, now they're cash poor, they're stressed out, and don't get me wrong, they're gambling in the sense that if it continues up on this trend, they're gonna make a boatload of money for the next year.
Yeah.
But more likely than not, they're trying to grow too fast
Yeah.
and put a 1,000 horsepower engine in a Honda Civic body,
Yeah.
and the car goes like this, crash the car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the easy way to tell is like, don't go on the social media. Don't go on the like what they drive and shit, right?
Yeah.
But look at the overall. How do they treat people?
Yeah.
How do they treat people when it comes to money
Yeah.
and stuff like that? Because I know a lot of people who are supposed to be quote unquote hella rich,
Yeah.
but they won't. But when the bill comes, they run. Or when they're buying rounds at the bar, they never pay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let me get this straight. All right, you claim to make $3 million and you can't buy a round for $200. And I get it. Don't go buying drinks for everybody. But you know me, when I go to the bar, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't make $3 million net a year.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna be straight up with you guys. But I can cover $1,000 bill a night and just buying somebody drinks and tabs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That don't faze me.
For sure.
But you claiming to make that money and you tripping?
Yeah.
Nah, bro, something don't add up.
Yeah.
Like, how you gonna make all this money have roommates?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
how
for
you
sure.
gonna make all this money and your mama drives a hoopty?
Yeah. No.
How you gonna make all this money and your mama don't got a house? How you gonna make all this money and I look at and you don't, your baby mama and your kids whooped? You know what I mean? Like, the math ain't mathing, bro. And so I'm like, at this point, I look at them like, bro, you're not even a competitor no more, bro.
For sure. For
Like,
sure.
I will the math ain't mathing.
No. Yeah.
So I'm like, you off my competitor list.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find a new competitor. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's important though. Like sometimes you can get like just lost in the facade, right? Like what it looks like. Like people do appear to be successful, but I said it really matters what's on paper. It's in like,
it just matters how they living too.
Yeah.
You know, like how are you really living?
Yeah.
And I don't know. As I get older, I get very good at reading people because I've been through it.
Yeah.
I've been, there's because I have risked it all.
Yeah. You've been at a lot of
Right?
stages in your life.
I've been at a lot of stages, so I'm like, dude, where they are now is probably where I was 5 years ago because I remember that stressed out phase.
Bro, I be doing that.
I've been there. You don't look like you've been sleeping, homie. You're like, I didn't. I've been having trouble sleeping that night. I'm like, I've been there. Because when you're trying to scale the business, sometimes you go broke trying to scale the business. Right? Like, I put everything into that coffee shop. I put everything
Yeah.
into that first coffee shop, second coffee shop.
Yeah.
I put everything into that coffee shop and had a flip going on. So all my money was out. And
Stressing.
luckily, the market held to where I was able to exit out on that and, recoup
Yeah.
the coffee shop. But can you imagine if, one of the periods where I could have probably lost it all was when I opened up Rise and Grind number 2.
Yeah.
$350,000 into that mother effer.
Oh, yeah.
And then I had a couple flips going on, and I'm like, dude, and then everything halted, right? Like COVID happened and said, no, nobody can do any work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, how am I going to pay all my bills? I got no money. I'm cash poor right now because, I had a little bit of cash, but not enough to support everything with
Yeah.
COVID saying you got to shut down. But luckily, even though the coffee shop was losing money for years and years, the real estate side, I was able to get out, make my money. And then I sat on money. I said, you know what? I better sit on more money now because things can pull back. Things can change.
Damn.
So you learn.
You learn, dude.
Yeah.
What were you doing in COVID, bro? You were just working? Or just chilling?
Oh, dude.
Stressing?
I was just, I was stressing.
Stressing, just chilling at
100%.
home, not touching people? Just.
No, I worked. I was
Oh, you
working.
did?
Yeah,
You're
I
working
worked.
like the whole COVID?
Dude, didn't stop. I was at the coffee shops.
Shit.
I freaking grounded up the troops. And, whoever wanted to work paid cash.
Fuck it.
Let's open the stores. We opened up Rise and Grind 1, and then eventually, a month or two later, when I got more staffing back and things we realized, we opened up Rise and Grind 2.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I just needed to make something. I didn't care if it was just $100 profit a day.
Yeah.
That $100 profit a day meant, we're open for 30 days, $3,000 a month. Rent for Rise and Grind 2 was like $6,000 something. So I'm like, just cover half. I'll cover the other half. You get what I'm saying? Like, I just need to cover. I can.
Fuck, dude.
I'd rather lose 3,000 than 6,000.
You were at war, bro.
I went to war.
That did not
know?
sound fun, bro.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I got tough skins, but that's why now I know. Like, okay, my
Reserves.
strategies are
Oh.
definitely different now. I don't go all in on anything anymore.
Yeah.
Like, if I have $100, I'm only gonna invest 50.
That was the time, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Your
then
flips, you had a new build
and then I'm gonna
out.
sit on 50
Yeah.
to make sure that the other 50, in case the other 50 goes wrong,
Yeah.
I got my 50 still.
Yeah.
But I think other people will be like, if I got 100,
Yeah.
I'm spending 100.
Yeah,
I know
for
people
sure,
like
for
that,
sure.
and I'll live on credit card because I'm banking on this thing to work.
Yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah.
But then those people, don't get me wrong. From what I've seen, in the short term,
Yeah.
they win
Yeah.
and they look like geniuses because they double up.
Yeah.
And they double up. But the problem is, in the long term,
Yeah.
they get into the cycle where, like, man, I've always gone all in. I've always doubled up. Then all of a sudden they get caught in one wrong market, something goes wrong,
Yeah.
and then they're back at zero. See, I don't want to do that because
Yeah.
you have to understand that 0 to 100 is the hardest.
Yeah.
After that, it's coasting.
Yeah.
I like to give the analogy of like a plane.
Mm.
An airplane burned most of its gas on takeoff.
Mm.
Once it's in the air, you're coasting. If you want to go faster or higher, it's pretty easy for it to do it, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with business. Same thing with life. Like, making your first 100,000 is the hardest.
Mm-hmm.
Then making your first million is hard.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, it gets a lot easier as long as you don't blow the money.
Yeah.
And you allow it to get invested and work for it. Work for to making more money.
Yeah.
Dude, then it's easy.
Yeah.
Like, I make 6 figures every year pretty easily because I have enough set aside that just is constantly working.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you, that first, it was hard to
Yeah.
stack it
Yeah.
because you want to blow it.
Yeah.
You want to double. You want to just do crazy shit with it.
Yeah.
Don't do that, y'all. you know.
Done did it.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up, man.
I appreciate you guys listening. Share this with 5 friends. This podcast is continuing to grow. I'm having a lot of fun building this community.
I hope you guys like this episode. It's a good
Yeah,
episode.
and shout out to all my Instagram and TikTok followers. We surpassed like 10,000 on both platforms. So love you guys. Peace out.
Peace.